All right, y'all boys.
Year.
No way.
I've had a very weird week and a half. Just like a weird energy. I don't know if it's in the air or what, but we haven't been on in a little while because you guys came to Orlando for a while. Like, what was the dates on that? So we can kind of give people
I was there for
idea.
3 weeks, but Quincy did Chicago and Orlando. I was in Orlando from October 16th to November 4th, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, and then for me, I think it was like 27 through like the 26th through the 31st, basically.
And then you were in Chicago for how many days before that?
I'm in Chicago for 4 days.
Yeah, so pretty much we were on the road between 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, like, for people that's listening that don't know, like, that was the first time we all three hung out together, like in person.
Yeah, multiple times.
Facts. And it was multiple times. But yeah, man, it was funny, man, because like even Junior, I think that was the first time we seen Junior too. Yep. But everybody was just vibing, like everything was like chill vibe.
It was like we've known each other for that long.
Facts. Even when Angel left, he was saying, like, he was like, yo, thanks for the invite again. We had a great time. Like, you know, they were saying how like they had a good time, like compared to other like get-togethers like that and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it was dope.
I'm gonna tell you right now, and that's why I know like we talked about the energy conversation, how much you do that. I feel, and I've something I've always felt is special is putting a bunch of people in a room together who've never been in a room together, but know somewhat of each other and have some kind of connection. And then finally meeting that person in real life, I feel like that's something that everybody needs to experience. And that's something that I do a lot. And you see, like every time I make plans, I think about who else can I include in these plans? Mm-hmm. And not that I need them to be there, but I'm giving them the chance to experience this, you know, to feel each other's energy, to be in the same room together. I feel like that's something different, but all of us take that differently, you know, sharing that energy and being in the same room. But that's why, like, I took every chance when I was in Orlando to do it. And that's why I'm glad you let me. Every time I hear Lester that I was coming through, I'm like, yo, I want to invite this person. He's like, yo, Lester's like, do whatever you want to do. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that because I know that's not the kind of person he really is. But it was dope because I was good. He was good with me doing that because he knows that, like, that's the shit that I do. Right. And so I want to salute Lester that for you know, hosting us and holding it down for us.
And that kind of even goes back to stuff we talked about before, like just as far as I've already, and we all do this with each other, but like I've already set kind of like my ground rules / my parameters with our relationship. So I know that you're the type of person that respects that, and you're going to know what the vibe is and what kind of, you know, what kind of person you're going to bring and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't have to worry about that with you. You know, there's a lot of people that they would tell me that and I'll be like, absolutely not. Like, it's happened multiple times. Like, I'm always the dickhead that tells people they can't come. I'm always the dickhead that kicks people out. Like, I don't play with that, bro. Like, I don't play with that at all. Like how you said, like what you were saying about energy and stuff like that. I have no intention of having a good time with you if you have bad energy. I don't even care if I don't care. Like and that even just kind of goes into a couple of the topics that we've talked about, like just as far as like you said, sharing energies, and something that we actually had on the docket for today, just about like playing the game, you know, when it comes to different things like business, relationships, anything, the music industry, playing the game versus, you know, keeping yourself how you want to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, a lot of stuff that people have been talking about lately includes like the situation with Takeoff, rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? I know us being a music podcast, not music podcast, but it's a heavy theme in our podcast. But something that we've talked about a lot of times is music and artists and stuff like that. I know that we've had conversations about Migos, and I know we've all, you know, listened to their albums, like the solo albums even, and have talked back and forth about that. And just kind of wanted
I consider myself a big fan.
Facts.
I'm a fan of all of them.
And that's why I kind of wanted to see your point of view as far as the musical impact that you feel like Migos and Takeoff have left, and just kind of looking at it from that point of view, and also the impact of the death and whatever you want to speak about surrounding it. And again, I want to just say rest in peace, because one thing I want to make sure that we do when we talk today is keep in mind that this is a person, this is somebody's family. Like, we're not here talking about it in the metaphorical, as far as like, this is not a real thing and a real person and a real situation that happened. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of times when you hear people talk about things like this, and that's something that I want to get into too. You know, little jokes come up, you know, people sharing videos and just talking about it in a certain way that it's like, you know, that common decency kind of goes out the window online, and people don't realize that, like I said, these are still people, these are still real life situations. So you always got to dance around it. You know what I mean? Out of respect. And it's not just respect for them, it's respect for life, period. You know what I mean? Because this kind of thing we see is so much that it kind of just, we get numb to it, and it's like, dang, another rapper dead. And it's like, nah, he ain't a rapper, he's a dude. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
He's a man that had people around him that love him,
well
that spoke
spoken
highly
for.
at him.
Yes,
Highly of him,
well
you
spoken.
know?
James Corden did a little minute and a half monologue just for him, like right when the show started. Like, these are different kind of level people recognizing a rapper out of Atlanta. And I wanted to actually ask Quincy, and I know because, you know, the service was in Atlanta and it was free to everybody, right? Like that I mean, that's what they represented, right? So that it's a big impact to that city alone.
Oh yeah, I mean, huge, because you got to realize too that, like, you know, Atlanta has been a huge Southern influence on hip hop for a couple decades now, you know, going all the way back to Outkast and, you know, T.I. and these people that came in and kind of changed the game in their own way. And I think that's exactly what Migos did, you know, over the last decade, basically. And then, you know, you have Takeoff, who, you know, it was arguably, in my opinion, he was the best in the group, but very strongly argued that he's the best in the group when it comes to his artistry. And then on top of that, to hear so many good stories about the person that he was, like, you know, he wasn't, you know, looking for trouble. You know what I mean? He was kind of the low key one, you know,
The most low key, yeah.
you know what I mean?
And
So
do you recall, or did you see? Because I'm just learning this now. Why his name was actually why they gave that name Takeoff.
You know, I don't know, unless if you know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So straight out of Quavo's mouth is because he used to do everything in one take.
Oh,
he
wow.
was ready every single time they recorded, and he did it in one take, and that's literally why they started calling him Takeoff.
That's hard.
That's how good he was. He really was that good.
Bro, I watched a video of him before, like when he was rapping in his living room on like a camera with him, and I think it was Offset in the video. And you could see even then, I think he was like 17, maybe. He was ready, you know, like.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy to see it, you know, because he didn't sound anything the way he sounds, you know, as of late. But you know, he just, you could tell he was ready.
Bro, like there's songs like Hotel Lobby, and he starts that song, hop out the 16 passenger. This is G5, no, this not a challenger. Like I play that anytime I want to feel hype. Like I would walk, if I was a professional boxer, I would walk out to that intro right there, because that's just hype talk. Like, and I love that.
Facts. And you could always just tell listening to him that he had a certain kind of he had a different intention with the way he rapped, and like the lyrics that he would use, and the things that he would say in his verses and stuff. I'm actually gonna look up there's this one song on the last album that it was super dope, and he had like a dope little sequence in there that I'm gonna pull up and say it whenever I get a chance. But it's just crazy that you know, dude was 28 years old. He ain't even get a chance like to even really start his life. You know what I mean? Like us three here, we're blessed to have passed that age already, and to reflect on that, and to just know, like, when I was 28, I wasn't even nowhere near like where I was supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just crazy. Like, I always appreciate with people like that, the silver lining is they were able to give you so much of high quality things, you know, as opposed to another person that it might have taken them a lifetime to give you what Quavo gave. You know what I mean? Like, he's the type of dude that you know, he always stood out. People always kind of noticed, man, that guy's kind of quiet, but he's the one, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just super sad to see, like, you know, videos being shared of honestly, bro, I don't even know what's on the videos, because I promise you I don't watch that kind of stuff. I never did. I've never seen, like, even from when we were younger, there was videos that would be passed around online that a lot of people have seen. I've never seen any of those videos. I'm the type of person that I don't like to take in any kind of negativity when I can avoid it. You know what I mean? Like, even in shows and stuff like that. Obviously, you know, there's certain plots and stuff that, you know, there's going to be crazy things happening. Breaking Bad, you know, shows are always going to have those aspects to them. But there's just certain energies and things that I just don't like to take in. And those kind of videos are one of them for sure. And I just wanted to see, like, what you guys thought about that when you heard that that was kind of floating around, and just like what kind of crosses your mind, Quincy, like when you hear things about that.
As far as the videos, like,
Just as far as videos and insensitive comments and things people say and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, I think it just goes back to kind of something that we've said multiple times in different ways. It's just, I think, you know, social media really has a huge impact on that, and our insensitivity, you know, because we get so much information so fast that it's like you don't even have time to really sit with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know, yeah, like, you know, like when Tupac and Biggie passed, you know, people had to sit with that and really think about, you know, man, like, maybe if we wasn't doing this East Coast, West Coast thing, you know, things could have been different. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if we, you know what I'm saying, treat each other better, things can be different. So people actually have to sit with that. And I think now we all know how fast things happen and how fast we learn new things are happening, that we aren't even sensitive to it anymore, because, you know, there's something new coming, you know, and with that said, you know, people, you know, for me, the sharing the video thing, that's just, it's, you know, those are sick people. I feel like there's a certain need for attention when it comes to social media. And if you
I want to go deeper than that, though.
Okay. Well, real quick to the point, though, it's just like, if you can, you know, kind of seek out likes, you know, rather than, you know what I'm saying? Like Lester just said, like, you know, appreciating life, you know, that to me, it gets to a point where it's like, bro, you're a little too captivated with the attention that social media gives you.
Yeah. And I completely agree. You know, where I'm going with is shit rolls downhill. I'm going from where it starts at. And saying it's like a template for these videos now. PNB and Takeoff's videos were the exact same videos, the exact same situation, same body position, same person crying over them, and then the person who pulled out the phone and start recording. And that's where it starts, bro. It starts with the mind state that's the first thing you think of now. Not you.
No, I know.
Certain people out there, the first thing they think of when they see that, and they've seen that, and they're the type of people that share that, and they want to be the first that share that. Exactly. And that's sick.
Yep. It goes
that's
back
sick.
to that.
The intention of pulling out that phone is to be the first that share that. Fact. And then there's a million other people who follow along right there.
My bad. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Go keep going. That's why I just wanted to take it that step deeper, because it starts with the person who pulls the phone out.
Yep.
And then it trickles down from there.
And there was a quote, I think I either said it on the podcast or in the chat recently, where, you know, I said that, you know, Denzel said it best, you know, people don't want to be right. They want to be first, you know? And I think, you know, when I first heard that, I was thinking about it from, you know, they don't care about having the correct information. They just want to be the first to put it out there. But when you even look at it from this perspective, it's deeper than just having the correct information. It's like they don't even want to be morally right. You know, I want to be first.
I don't want to get into that little bullshit, because that's just the shit that they do. But just to give an example of what you just talked about, the whole shit about it being over a dice game, that was in limbo for like the first 36 hours, because people saying it wasn't, and there's people who were there saying it was, and like it. And then so many people wanted just to talk about it being, but the dice game talk went on from hour zero until the final story comes out, whether it was over a dice game or fucking not. But there's so much dialogue for 48 hours between there, people just wasting their fucking time talking about shit that they're not even sure that really happened. And that is one thing I wanted to talk about. So to transit to not get too deep into a death, transition into a kind of what Lester said, knowing who the people are going to be around the people you're around. Right? So dice game or not. So like Lester said, there's certain people he knows who's around that he don't want to be around. Boom, he don't be around. That's how I feel this situation lacked in. And that should show everybody you really got to consider. So if you're the most low-key person in the world, that doesn't mean no one will ever run up on you. You'll never be involved in the middle of something. You know what I'm saying? I feel you put yourself in those environments, you're automatically taking a risk to be included in that kind of situation.
So check this out. I heard something today that perfectly with what you're saying. Heard something today. I believe it was on the Breakfast Club, something along the lines of like, the reason why people from the hood have a hard time like getting out and doing better and staying better is like that, like the stuff pulling you back in and stuff like that. But I think that also goes back to what we're talking about when we say they. You know what I'm saying? Because like there's going to be a certain group of people that's just the stuff that they're on. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like and I'm not saying specifically tied to that situation or anything. I'm just saying in general, I feel like the need to be in the mix gets people.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter what your intention is. It doesn't matter like what kind of person you are, but just being in the mix a lot of times is enough to make your situation bad. Like, and it's an old saying that they used to say, none good happens after 11 or after 10.
I learned that really late in my life. I wish I learned that earlier.
And it's something so simple. And when you're young, you hear that like, oh, shut up. We doing the same thing at night that we doing during the day, but that's not what they're saying. You know what I mean? And, earlier this week, I posted something on my Instagram about an episode of Hey Arnold called The Sewer King. And basically the premise of the episode, I'm going to explain the episode and then kind of explain like what I got out of it, even though I don't know if that's exactly what they was trying to portray, but I just looked at it that way. So Arnold, I don't know if you've never seen Hey Arnold. I've talked about it on the podcast before, and I give the same spiel every time. If you haven't seen Hey Arnold, it's something that you could put on right now as a grown-up. Doesn't matter what age you are, you will enjoy Hey Arnold because it's just so great. The way it was written, the way it was drawn, the intention behind it, all of it. I mean, even if you look into the making of it, you understand why it's so fire. But anyway, so Arnold is the main character. He's a 4th grade kid. Arnold's walking down the street. He has his grandpa's watch that he went to pick up that was getting repaired. When he's walking down the street, he falls. The watch falls into the sewer. He's with his best friend, Gerald, and they're like, dang, it went in the sewer. So it's his grandpa's watch, crazy story behind it. So him and Gerald decide to go in the sewer to get the watch. So they go down into the sewer. The show's kind of, they never say they're in New York, but it's based in New York. And the writer has basically said, yeah, like it's basically New York. So it's in New York. So there's mad rats in the sewer.
Yeah, I always thought it was New York.
Yeah, it basically is. That's what they were doing. You know what I mean? And so yeah, they're in the sewer. They come across the Sewer King. So the Sewer King is a guy that lives in the sewer that's basically like the king of the rats. So he's like the leader of all the rats. They kind of do whatever he says or whatever. He was the one that found the watch. So long story short, him and Arnold play chess. Arnold beats him. He doesn't want to give him back the watch. Arnold kind of has to just, force it from him and escape. And obviously it's like a rough escape. The rats are trying to get him. Sewer King's trying to get him. They get home. They finally escape with the watch. The funny thing about the episode at the end is that, he gets the watch to his grandpa. His grandpa walks over to the kitchen and his grandpa drops the watch in the sink. So
Okay, I was
the
about to
watch
say.
just ends up back in the sewer king's hand anyway. He's down there crying, like, "Oh, I lost the watch! I lost the watch!" And then the watch just falls in his hands, you know. And the grandpa had a whole bunch of backup watches anyway. So that was like the funny thing in the episode. But before the funny part, when I watch that episode, I always think about it like from the point of view of like those environments where when you go to the bottom, which is the sewer, the rats are there, the sewer king is there. You know, when the sewer king, there's a lot of sewer kings, you know, we've all met them. There's always been that group of people that there's a person in that group that's the leader. They succeed in belittling you or making fun of you because they're the sewer king, and the rats around them go with whatever the sewer king says. The sewer king is the one that runs the underground. You know what I'm saying? And the way I look at it is when you put yourself in the sewer, you have to play by those rules. And those rules, they don't play fair. You're in the sewer. It's the rats, it's the sewer king. You know what I mean? Like it's basically just the idea that when you're around people that don't hold themselves to the moral standard that you hold yourself, that don't respect things the way you respect them, that don't respect somebody walking by the same way that you would, you know what I mean? There's a lot of little signs that you can notice, and you can tell just being around this person is trouble. Now, you know, a lot of people, and the part of being mixy that I was talking about earlier is that a lot of those people, they are fun to be around. You know what I mean? That those situations, they do have a lot of things that you're like, oh man, this is a dope environment, or this is fun, whatever the case is. But it's knowing that you're gonna win by not putting yourself in those situations every time. And it might feel like, oh, I'm missing out on the fun, or, you know, X, Y, and Z. You can give yourself whatever reason to go to the sewer. But at the end of the day, it's the sewer.
And so let me ask you this, because I'm guilty of this, and you know, I'm not ashamed. Well, I'm not afraid to admit it. Do you think you can exist with a balance? No. Okay. Yeah.
I don't. And that's
I've learned that.
I'm glad that you said that, because that is something that has hindered is not the right word, because I definitely don't feel like it's hindered me, because things have always gotten better for me when I cut those ties. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can, no matter what, you grew up with somebody, whatever. I mean, I grew up with Quincy, but not to the degree that I've grown up with other people. You know what I mean? Like, me and Quincy met when we was in high school. Like, I know him from those days, and, you know, we have that bond and that camaraderie from those days, but that's not enough for me to be like, oh, I'm just going to be friends with this guy all the time.
That's not why y'all close.
Right.
Exactly.
Like, I know, basically what I'm trying to say is I know plenty of people better than Quincy that I spent more time with than Quincy when I was younger. But
nobody's better than Quincy.
Well, known better, not that they're better. You know what I mean? Let me clarify that. Quincy's that ball.
We got a comma in there. So.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's like, it hurts, yeah, and it's tough, yeah. I'm not gonna act like it's not. But at the same time, when you know that you always have that chance, you know what I mean? Like, there's always that little thing that this could go wrong because of something that you're putting yourself around. You have to avoid that at all costs. You know what I mean? And the thing where I think it kind of gets muddy for people is that I'm not saying that being around that person might not benefit you. You know what I mean? Because, like, you know, I'm pretty sure, and I'm not pretty sure, I know for a fact that there's people that rub elbows with people because, hey, I'm making money with this guy. Hey, I'm getting these connections with this guy.
Yeah,
hey, you know, my financial situation is better. Like, whatever the case is, there's always going to be a reason to give up a little bit of yourself. But it's just remembering, like, is that worth it? You know what I'm saying? Because eventually there's, you know, you're eventually going to give away too much. You know what I mean? You only have a certain amount to give. And then once you give all that away, what's left is not somebody that you're going to be happy to look at in the mirror. And, you know, like I said, it's something that I've dealt with a lot. You know, just kind of like going back to what we were talking about, you know, like growing up certain way and stuff. Like, you know, you meet certain people, and like I learned that as I was growing up. Like once I got into like my adulthood, and I, you know, was mingling with a lot of other people that weren't from where I'm from, it made me realize, like, dang, like the people I know are very, you know, very questionable individuals. You know what I mean? Like it kind of gives you a gauge, like, oh, like this is how most normal people do things. You know, like this is very different. You know what I mean? And it's easy to just fall back and say, you know, whatever, like that's the kind of stuff that I'm into, or that's how I grew up, or whatever. You could say that, but you're ultimately going to know that you're giving something up of yourself as far as, you know, your morals, what you stand on, your foundation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
I agree. I happen to learn that late in life, but early enough before I met my wife and how to say no to people. And it was strictly that. It was just like, who's gonna be there? Nah, I can't be there, bro. I can't do that. Simple as that. I can't do that. That's dumb to me. And these are little words that I've told my closest friends. Nah, that's dumb. I can't do that. That's just stupid. That's just stupid for me to be there in that situation. So sorry. See you next time. And after a while, then I stopped getting those kind of invites because they're like, nah, this is because before, like I said before, I always try to do a balance, and now it's just like I said, there is no balance. Either that person or you're not.
And I'm glad you said that, because it triggers something in my mind that like I'm to that point where people don't even hit me up for certain things because they know I'm not going to go for it. You know what I mean? Like there's a filter of things that are even like presented to me. And I'm not saying that like, oh, it's like it comes across my desk and I just tell them if I'm going to honor them with my presence. Like not that kind of vibe. It's just like
Sunday expense reports, Michael.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you people just know like the kind of vibe you want, the energy you want. And once they know, and you've established that over time and you have a history of it, when somebody calls you and tells you, hey, we got this going on, or this is situation, you know that when something's going to come across your desk, it's something that people are going to, you know, it's something that they're going to feel like is worthy of your time and it's worthy of your, you know, you to listen. Cause that's even something that I hear a lot, like that I would hear a lot from people is like, you know, I'll hear about something after the fact and they'll tell me like, yeah, I didn't even hit you up because I knew that, you know, I know that you don't be on that type of stuff. And I like that. You know what I'm saying? And I like that. I like when people tell me that. And I like when people tell me, oh, you know, I know you be busy and I know you probably, and it's like, yeah, I do be busy, but it's not like I'm super busy that I don't got time for nothing.
That's not the reason.
I just like that they think that I just got so much better stuff to spend my time on than something stupid. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and it kind of like, it's like, you know that it's stupid because you didn't even hit me up about it. So why are you there? You know what I mean? Like, and it's something that, you know, I've always had people come at me and tell me, oh, you have too much of a standard of what you think people should be like, or this and that. And it's like, I don't feel like that's something bad. You know what I mean? Like, because I expect people to have, you know, very strong morals, and I expect them to be honorable in everything that they do. Is that something that's bad? I don't believe that. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me, hey, make more shady friends, because you're not going to have that many friends if you keep thinking everybody's going to be good. And it's like, well, then if nobody's going to be good, then I'm not going to have no friends. You know, it's something else that I pride myself on too, is like, I just speak freely because I'm not trying to keep a story straight with anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, I love that. That's the best part about not lying to anybody.
Yeah, it's like, it's something that I noticed super young. Like when I was in high school, like, dang, if I lie, it's just harder to lie. So I'm not going to lie.
To remember.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of times people don't like when you tell them the truth too. Like, that's why a lot of people lie also, because, you know, you might tell somebody something straight up, but they don't want to hear it. And it's like, I can't control if you don't want to hear the truth. This is how I live, and this is how I say things, and this is how I do my thing. And if it doesn't line up with how you do things, then we're just not the type of people that should be interacting.
Yep.
I know for a fact and I can remember still to this day, the conversation I've had, because one thing I will never neglect, I've come across a lot of people in my life, and I continue to do so. You know what I'm saying? I every person that I meet on a personal level, I invite them in, I get to know them, and I can remember every single person that we had that conversation, and the things they were saying, I was like, nah. This probably the last conversation we'll have. You know, at least this deep. You know, I keep it at a kosher level. While still keep in contact, still say what's up, throw a couple happy birthdays on the Instagram. But for the most part, those deep connection talks, I don't see ourselves having. And there's people that I was like, wow, like you really thinking
and
like
just
this?
to cut in real quick, because some of you said was very interesting.
Yeah,
people have a hard time like understanding that you can be cordial and not be best friends. You know what I mean? Like because like what you're saying, you can do that kind of stuff. Hey, you know, talk here and there. It's like I have some friends that they're basketball friends. You know what I mean? Like if you tell me you're gonna be at the basketball court, I'm not picking nobody up. I'm meeting y'all there. We gonna play, and I'm leaving by myself. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have a great time while we're at the court. You know, it's going to feel like old times. I'm going to be laughing. I'm not going to be worried. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I'm just at the basketball court. We playing. And then as soon as that's done, I'm gone. You know what I mean? But I'm glad you said that because it always makes me think of that. Like, and I think that's an issue with people too. Like when you tell them, hey, I don't want to be cool with you like that, then they get mad and they're like, all right, then I don't even want to mess with you at all. And it's like, dang, bro, like it either had to be the way you wanted it to be or no way at all.
And another way is, and this is how people are, and friends are those people that you're friends with, and that you're comfortable letting them know, like, yo, I just don't bang with them like that. You know what I'm saying? And they take it some kind of way, like, what you mean? Like, this person's the best person in my life. They're not for me though. That's your life. I don't see him anything how you see him. So it's like you gotta understand, and if we're close enough for me to be able to have a conversation with you, and I trust you, and not gonna tell that person that, like, don't take it no way. You know, and it all comes down to respecting everybody's level of relationships with people.
I feel like I've had the opportunity or a unique opportunity kind of to, you know, how y'all said that, you know, you reach that point in your life where you kind of realize that. And I know, Joe, you said you kind of realized it late. Like for me, I feel like I realized it early, and then, you know, 5, 6, 7 years goes by and I decide to go back to school and join 2 fraternities. And then all of these relationships just kind of spring on me. And then I learned that again, you know what I'm saying? After school, I learned the same lesson over again. So it's like, I find it very interesting how, you know, that can happen. You get what I'm saying? Because it's like, don't get me wrong. Like I already still have
you
my
can be
guard
set
up,
early
but
and just slip up and forget because you get caught up in everything that's coming, and
exactly.
it's so hard living the present. And I know I wasn't in the frat, but I know knowing people who were, the activities are endless. You're already thinking about the next one when you're done with the one you in.
Facts.
So there's like, you know, there's no time to process and say, yo, what's going on? You just living at the moment, especially being young. You know, just like me, you tend to forget some of the good things you already had instilled in you. You tend to forget, but it's about starting to remember them and picking them back up, kind of thing.
Exactly. And also the processes that you go through to get into these organizations, they're all about brotherhood and, you know, really bonding with the people that you're around, which is great. You get what I'm saying? But it's also like, you know, when you've already kind of learned that life lesson and then you kind of are almost taught to break it and bond with random people in a sense, because you don't know a lot of the people that you end up pledging or joining or, you know, whatever with, you know. And then kind of relearning that, it's kind of like, you know, it's like, to me, like I said, it's a very unique situation because it's like, you don't really see that happen often. Like usually when somebody learns that, that's just kind of the way they are, you know.
Everyone who I've known has been in a frat or a sorority, even business fraternities, you know, continue to be involved with them years and years and years later, and grow with them and build with them. And like you said, it's a brotherhood, and it's like kind of certified brotherhood. You know, like we share something here. We have our own type of brotherhood, but that we built on our own, you know, over time, and just find out we still have more to build. But something like that, you walk into, you immediately have a core thing in common. And that's something I always thought I respected about it, which is pretty dope. So that's like when we try to get you for the tailgate, you're like, yeah, they've been trying to get me to come out here for a minute now.
Yeah.
Tailgate was dope, man. We played some beer pong.
Dope.
I found some unhidden skills from Lester, the guy who I never thought would play beer pong the way he did. And then he bounced it on me. And I'm like the king bouncer.
Shout out to the homie Brian. When I was like out of high school, like 18, 19, I might have been 20. I worked at Subway, right? And I worked with these dudes that went to UCF. Like, keep in mind, like because
that's where I learned.
Yo, so check it out. I'm coming from an environment where I don't have one white friend. I don't know any white people socially. Like, I know them socially, like from school and stuff like that, but I don't know, like, I've never been in a white person's house. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know white people like that.
I 100% feel you. There's nothing to be like, that's something very common.
So I start working at Subway. These dudes is working there. Brian, Dylan, Joey. I think it was just them. Yeah. So they were all three homies from Melbourne that came out to Orlando to go to UCF. So we was working together, we would joke and everything, like we was cool. And they were like, yo, man, we having a party. We playing beer pong if you want to come. And I'm like, what is that? And they were like, oh, you don't know what beer pong is? Like, they were excited. Like, nah, you definitely got to come now. This and that. I was like, all right, bet. I told my cousin to come with me, I think. Oh, I don't remember if it was my cousin. I know I brought somebody because I was just kind of like, I didn't know what I was stepping into. So I'm like, yo, come with me to this party. So we go and, they show us the beer pong, like the flip cup, all that, like just even the way they was having a party was crazy to me. You know what I mean? Like just the vibe and like just how everything, like even just them in college, like I didn't know nobody in college. You know what I mean? Like I knew of people like from school and stuff like that, but I didn't really know nobody that went to college or nothing like that. So, they taught me the beer pong, bro. Once they showed me it, because I'm, obviously y'all know I love basketball. Once they showed me that game, bro, I was hooked. I brought that game back to the hood, dog. I was like, yo, I just figured out a game that's like a basketball game, but for drinking. And they were like, what are you talking about? And when I brought that beer pong back, I was like the hero that came to the cave with fire. You know what I mean?
Wow, bro. That's dope. Yo, that's really true American fucking sports activities. That's what it is. Like the same thing as me, bro. Like I met one of my first best friends. Shout out to Hunter if he ever does watch this. I wouldn't doubt if he did. I was 10 years old. And I mean, y'all want to tell you? I'm gonna tell you a story because it gives you a backstory how I used to my stupid ass. We're in 5th grade and we're sitting next to each other in 5th grade, right? And we had the desks that are all aligned with each other, and we all got our cubbies underneath the desk. My man had an Orlando Magic pencil right in his desk, right? That shit was fire. He wasn't even using it.
He had a what?
Yeah, Orlando Magic pencil.
Oh, pencil.
And he had a bunch of other pencils he was using. He wasn't even using the Orlando Magic one, right? So I was like, all right, I'm going to just jack this pencil real quick. Boom. Jack the pencil, started writing it in front of my dude. And he goes, yo, it's my pencil? And I'm like, nah, B, it's not your pencil. Right. He's like, nah, that's my pencil, dude. You're sitting right next to me. My pencil's missing. And you're writing with it. I was like, nah, that's not my pencil. My man duffs me. Boom. I said, oh, shit. All right, here's your pencil. I said, can I borrow a pencil? He lets me borrow the pencil. Best friends forever after that. Literally grew up the rest of our lives together. But coming from Peruvian family from San Francisco for the last 7 years of my life and just being around Spanish, everything, I started seeing how white people live. And I was like, wow. It's like, and it was just like crazy transition seeing how you live and then how other people live for your, as a kid. And even go same thing. So learned all that. So that's where I grasped it from. But it was like you got to get the people who expose you to things to let you expose you to things, and you got to be open to things. That's why I think you got to be open to everything, because that could lead you to knowing something for the rest of your life that a lot of people don't get to experience just because they weren't open and just taking that step to seeing a kind of different environment, a different set of lifestyle, living, everything. And I was glad I did that. It taught me so much. Like, I learned how to ride a tractor, ride a horse, ride a motorcycle, drive my first car, smoke cigarettes, play all these sports. Like I came from the background of just not ever just doing that as any part of my life at all. And then just getting experience that taught me a lot. It might have taught me some stuff that I should have never learned, but at the same time, it taught me a lot of who I am today and how I am able to navigate today. And that's what I saw with Lester. He still has, I was like, this is a whole side of you that you don't even bring out, but it's there because you lived through it. So when you're in that environment, my guy flourishes and he bounces and gets 2 cups on me. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's just, if you have going through experiences, allow you to the day you want to be in there, even if you don't fuck with that experience, you still know how to be there and be present and just be comfortable and have a good time, because you know it's gonna be over in a few hours and you're gonna go home and then you're back to your not worrying about it.
Mm-hmm. And that's a perfect segue too, because like I always feel like you know, being the way that I described to y'all, people have this connotation like, oh, like you're boring or you don't want to do anything or you just don't like having fun. And it's like, nah, like y'all could clearly see, I like having fun. You know what I mean? It just has to be the right setting. You know what I mean? It has to be the right people. You know, I'm not just quick to say, oh, there's fun over here, let's do it. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of factors for me that I have to consider. And again, that might even just, I mean, not might even, I know that comes from what I was saying before, like the environment that we came from growing up. Like you got to be a little more cautious if you want to flourish. You know what I mean? Like it's real easy to get into some bullshit. Like you don't even got to think about it. You know what I mean? That's why, like, that's another reason why I feel like I also never really valued money either, because I noticed right away that it's easy to make if you're willing to do whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's easy to make if like there's so many ways to make it that you can kind of bend your will. You know what I'm saying? Like there's just so many avenues that you can hit it. And I saw like firsthand, like at least in the situation that I was in, that it was harder to say nah and stay broker than it was to make some money. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's so easy and the opportunities are just always there. You know what I mean? And there's like shady ways to do it. And I'm not gonna lie, bro, like certain times I fell into that, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, you're doing certain things that, you know, karma eventually gets you back on, you know what I mean?
Yep. Big time.
And keeping that lifestyle up is you just gonna always be on the hamster wheel with the karma right behind you. Karma's gonna be the same distance. You're gonna be the same distance away. Y'all gonna keep running. But just like that hamster wheel, once you trip, it just takes that one trip.
It's over for you.
It's over. And a lot of people can't keep that hamster wheel going forever. You know, and I just feel like people are too just way too giving with their energy and not like realizing like how important that is. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you know,
like it's unfortunate. My life changed. Sorry for interrupting, but just want to explain how my life changed when I learned that lesson. And I'm glad I learned it before I met my wife, because now it's so easy, because now I don't even think of it. And she never has to deal with me being in situations that I don't need to be.
Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I literally have had conversations with people that like, they come to me, like, I might have mentioned this before, like people come to me for like marriage stuff and relationship stuff because like they've just seen like how strong and how my relationship has flourished for so many years. You know what I mean? Like we going on like 14 years together, about to be 15.
No, shout out to Val. Like we sat in that room for like an hour for the first hour with her and just chopped the shit up. And then she went out, and then me and you spent the next 2 hours there. So it was cool. Like, just being able to sit there and see like you guys are just like the same connection, and it's like it was dope. It was dope just being able to relate and have a conversation where.
Look, you ain't know what you had till I came. Why you still riding around with them lame? Shawty, why you playing games? Deep down, you know you causing the pain. Meeting me was just part of the blame. Went from sparks to a flame. You ain't never met a real one from the east side, where the heart stay cold but the streets hot. But I made it out, look at where I reside. It didn't really take too much for you to decide. Girl, I'm just different. Back then I had an epiphany. Can't just take what I'm giving. That's why I move with efficiency. Slow down what I'm trying to say. The way you working them stilettos in that I'm break. Tryna see if you pulling up. Finals in one night. How you leaving the room, but I'm thinking the time right. You just been fiending for me, be ready, now here I come. And when we get going, girl, I ain't finished until you're done. I'ma keep it 100.
Girl, I keep it 100. Girl, I keep it 100. Girl, I keep it 100. Girl, I keep it 100. Girl, I keep it 100. Girl, I keep it 100. Girl, I keep it 100.